Welcome to Nasdaq TradeTalks, where we meet the top thought leaders and strategists in emerging technologies, digital assets, the regulatory landscape, and capital markets. I'm your host, Jill Malandrino, and joining me for Cybersecurity Awareness Month, we have Kirthiga Reddy. She's CEO of Virtualness. We're here to discuss how brands are utilizing blockchain technology to manage and create digital trust. Kirthiga, it's great to see you as always. Welcome back to Trade Talks.
Great to be back.
Let's talk about deepfakes for a moment here. They pose significant risks, most of that being misinformation and disinformation. Give us an overview of the trends that you're seeing, what the environment looks like right now.
Jill, the numbers tell the story. The number of deepfakes detected worldwide increased 10 times from 2022 to 2023. That's just in 1 year. And if you think about the economic impact, Jill, deepfake-related losses are expected to soar from about 12 billion in 2023 to 40 billion in 2027. And while there's a lot of much needed focus on the impact of deepfakes on the consumer side, enterprises honestly are just not ready for the threats posed to them in all aspects of their business: hiring, operations, finance. 61% of organizations in a survey by business.com said they don't have any measures in place to prepare the organization for deepfakes. So this is something we all need to be paying much more attention than we are today.
Yeah, it certainly is different than the phishing of yesterday. I mean, you have a stat here 7 years ago, it took 30 minutes of audio to impersonate someone's voice. Now it takes 3 seconds, and these types of tools are essentially available to anyone. So as quick as the technology evolves for good things, it's also being incorporated, for the bad actors as well. And it's mind-blowing to me just how fast and readily available it is.
Totally. And that stat is only going to increase and accelerate. We are seeing massive innovation every single day. A few years ago, on deepfakes couldn't do things like replicate like blinking of the eye. And now you can actually have a persona that mimics all of the bloodstreams and the blood flow. It is scary as far as the implications of where technology is taking us and how much attention we need to pay.
So we know that these tools are available and out there. What are organizations doing to protect the enterprise? Are there protocols that are in place that are long-term, that are sustainable? Is progress being made there?
Jill, I am a technologist and an optimist, and I am very excited about how technology can be used to combat all of these issues that are being created. And as much as I believe in technology for good, organizations need to take a proactive approach in taking technology to address all the downsides. We have innovation happening at some of the largest companies, like my former employer, Meta, to like startups, companies like Image Shield that let people register a scan of their face and alert a consumer if a deepfake of that particular individual is being used. Similar to the times where did we imagine that we would have to protect our social security numbers? Now we're going to have to protect our digital identities. So whether it's AI being used to combat deepfake issues, or I'm personally very excited about how blockchain is being used, Jill, for addressing these issues, where we have the ability to have authenticated digital assets in an immutable permanent ledger in a way that protects the integrity of data and cryptographically verifies images, video, and all kinds of assets.
Which is so interesting, because when we think of blockchain, it's always in the context of how it can help financial services or other industries evolve, whether it's supply chain management, has the transparency, the audibility of the blockchain technology itself. And I think, when you talk about trust, it just seems like such a natural fit, and something that we're really only starting to hear more about, how this technology can be applied in areas such as media, as an example.
Totally, Jill. Blockchain is having its massive progress almost in the background, and it's waiting for its ChatGPT-like moment where everyone realizes that it's all over. Today, if you get an online certificate from Stanford, you actually get your certificate on blockchain in a way that can be verified across the globe. And at Virtualness, our Verix platform, Jill, is being used by companies to verify everything from proof of skills, certification, physical products to content. Anytime you look at something and say, is this real? A question that is coming up increasingly, you have a platform that lets those issuers mint that piece of information on blockchain, allow it to be digitally shareable, and allow it to be verified across the globe.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. You have another stat you pointed out here. According to a Deloitte global blockchain survey, around 40% of respondents have significantly, they think digital assets have a significantly positive impact on improving compliance and transparency. That's encouraging. It's a sign of maturity in the industry, if you will, that things are kind of turning around, because it had somewhat of a negative connotation attached. But this technology is now making its way to the forefront of applying it to compliance and transparency. To me, that's significant progress.
Totally. Last week, Amdocs, a leading provider of IT software and services, they announced in their town hall that all of their HR professionals who are showing excellence in innovation, how they manage HR talent, they were being recognized by Verix verified certificates that then they could share with one click on LinkedIn. That will stay as a permanent immutable ledger, giving ownership of that credential to the person receiving it, that feeds then into all of these algorithms that are now scraping things about what someone has said about their skills or what someone has accomplished. You think about what you see on your LinkedIn feed and think about how much you think, is this real? And is there a way to validate it or not? And more people, Jill, are going to be trained to look for some of those credentials actually say a show credential button that you can click on, go to this immutable ledger, and no matter what someone has written, no matter what pretty picture is shown there, you can actually verify who it has been issued by, what it has been issued for, and who owns it.
It's just so interesting because, when we think about terms as the way the internet exists right now, you have to be careful what you say on social media or anything that's put on the web, because it lives there forever. This almost seems like the next step where it's going to verify whether or not this is what you said, when you said it, how you said it. So it kind of removes that layer of, someone put something fake out there about me, or it wasn't me, or someone hacked my account. This actually removes that layer, if I understand it correctly.
100%, Jill. And the problem today is that the cost of verification is really high, which means that a lot of people have to base their decisions on a large amount of trust, which in this world of deepfakes and AI, you have to continually question, and that trust is being eroded. We talked about the stat of the number of deepfakes increasing. Well, the number of fake certificates has gone up threefold, according to a report by ID5 just in the last year. Again, that trend is only increasing as well. The beauty of blockchain, Jill, is not only about the authenticity and the permanent of that accomplishment, that product at that moment of time, but it also becomes a living certificate. And I'll give you an example. So we are working with an organization called Mom Relaunch. It's another huge passion area. How do we get working mothers to stay in the workforce and the steep mid-career drop-off that we see? Well, this organization, Mom Relaunch, trains moms to re-enter the workforce. When they enter the program, they get a blockchain certificate that says that and because blockchain is this dynamic living element, you actually trace what are the courses that they took, what are the skills that they got, and that lives forever with the person as they apply for their roles.
Well, it also makes the organizations accountable as well, right? Because where they got these certificates from, or where companies have trained them for these particular programs, it shows that they're participating in these types of efforts or not, right? So it holds accountability on every side of the equation.
So Jill, every side of the equation and across the different things that we do, whether it's things like badging your volunteerism, whether it's things like showing which member or professional member organization you're still a part of versus something that you were part of and certified for 5 years ago. We had a partnership also with the Mobile Marketing Association, where they released a landmark report on the impact of AI in marketing. Whenever there is a landmark report, Jill, everyone claims to have a part to play in it, but they actually badged the 60 AI experts so that the 60 AI experts could say that they contributed to it versus the other 60 or the 600 that said that they did contribute, but may not have. You can just distinguish what's true and what's not true.
I mean, this could change academia and how research is done, which to me is exciting, but we're getting off on a tangent here. Appreciate the insight as always, Kirthiga. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.
Excited to be sharing about how blockchain is changing the world of trust and making its way to its ChatGPT moment. Thanks, Jill.
Thank you.